I met this guy when I was 22 years old. I believed in love at first sight at that moment. And I really thought that this was the one. My name is Thaakirah Mohamed. I'm 32 years old. I don't remember much about my family background. I think there was too much pain associated to it. I don't feel joy thinking about it. The vulnerability of being a broken child was something that, man, only my soul understood. I knew what it was like to have everybody and nobody with me. And because I craved so deeply for anything to latch onto, to feel some sort of validation from people. I was 7 years old, and he was my teacher in faith. Man, I loved that man's class. And the first day, man, I was excited. I was excited, man. I didn't sleep the night before. I had butterflies in my stomach. And the first day came. I sat right in front of the class because I wanted him to see how eager I was to learn from him. The first class was amazing. Oh my word. I went home and I replayed it like a movie scene. And I'd giggle at myself in silly moments where the class would make a mistake and he'd correct them beautifully. And he gained my trust. He did. And he started these private classes. And I went to the first class. And it was at his mother's house, at the back of our school. The first few classes were fine. They were beautiful. And then he touched me for the first time. He touched the unformed parts of my womanhood for the first time. He carried on. And he carried on. And I hated it. Man, I hated every second. It felt like I was choking on the words to tell him no. So the abuse went on and the molestation went on for about 2 years. My body was used so much that I was so silent within myself. It's not that I couldn't tell anybody. It's that he made me believe that no one would believe me. The way that I found my way out of that 2 years thereafter was when I moved to my hometown in George. I met this guy when I was 22 years old. Man, he was a Vin Diesel. He looked not like him, but he had the same aura attached to him. Oh my word. He was buff and beautiful. And everything that I thought I needed in a man at that point. We met at a family friend's place at a braai. and I seen him across the couch, I was taken aback by how strong he looked and how chiseled his shoulders were. And we locked eyes and we were introduced to each other, and the moment just turned so joyous because I believed in love at first sight at that moment. And I fell in love instantly. And he fell in love instantly. He wanted to marry me almost immediately. That's the way things went. We went out a few times and he would come home. First guy I brought to my house. The one day he says, I want to take you out for the day, honey. Put on something beautiful. And I put on the best clothes I had that day. And he picked me up and he looked stunning. And I just felt like the luckiest girl. And we took a drive through the garden route. He stops the car in the middle of the street and he gets out. And he gets onto his knees. And there's trucks coming. And he tells me he won't get up if I don't marry him. And I tell him, yes, I will. Get into the car. And that's where it all started. I gave him the power. I went to his flat and he was at work. And he came home drunk for a man who didn't drink. And I feel like I locked eyes with someone who wasn't him. And he slapped me across my face that day. And I went to the bathroom. And I shut the door and I locked the door. And he was crying on the other side. He apologized, and I knew that because he was intoxicated, I needed to play things a little bit differently. And I walked out of the bathroom. And I said, it's fine. I knew that only someone who was truly a grandiose, malignant narcissist would have the capacity of switching emotions as quickly as he done in that time. Every single day for 6 months thereafter. And it may not seem like a long time, but it was a long time for me to the extent I was being abused. I thought to myself, who is this person? It's definitely not the person that I remember seeing across the room that day. And I would ask myself, did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong for him to change the way he's changed towards me? I was in my second year off campus. I was studying marketing. It was a time where internet just came out, so not everybody had computers and internet at home. And he had internet. And I had an assignment that was due. So for the last few months before that, he'd been physical with me, and then there was a change, and everything felt okay. But deep down, I knew there was just something off, but I thought it was just me. And I went to his apartment that afternoon to do my assignment, and I just seen there was something not right with his presence, And instantly I was at God. I couldn't understand if it was me who shifted something or if something had happened. But he walked past me almost with anger. I knew what his wrath was. So I didn't want to be on the end of his wrath that day. He went up the stairs and he calls me to the room, and I go up to the room almost immediately because I wanted to know what he needed so that I could give him that, so that he could look different, just a little bit calmer. He brings me in and he tells me, come and hug me, and I go and hug him, and I smell alcohol on his breath. And I didn't know what was going on in that moment. And I asked him, what's going on? Did you drink? And he slaps me across my face. And I fell on the bed, my face to the side. I remember my ear ringing so much that I felt like my brain was going to explode at any moment. And I don't remember how he took off my clothing or how far off it was. All I remember is opening up my eyes in the exact moment that he raped me. And I kicked him so hard across in his groin area. Oh. And he fell to the floor, and I just rushed to the bathroom. I rushed to the bathroom because I seen the blood just running down my legs, and I locked the bathroom door and I sat on the floor and I started hyperventilating a lot. And I heard him crying on the other side of the door. I heard him begging me to forgive him. I knew that only someone who was truly a grandiose, malignant narcissist would have the capacity of switching emotions as quickly as he done in that time. So I knew that I needed to be tactful about how I get out. And I cleaned myself up. And I washed my face. And I put a smile on my face. And I lifted him from the floor. And I said, it's okay. I need to go home. I was doing an event at a really posh place. I was into events that time, and I was a radio presenter for a long time as well. And we were doing something in collaboration, opening up a place in the garden route, and I was so excited because it was an exclusive guest list, and I was so happy to show people that I finally had someone to walk with. Even though there were minor forms of hitting and pinching here and there, I thought I could handle it. And we got to the event, and I was the coordinator of the event. And everybody came. He dragged me upstairs in the venue where there were 2 couches and nobody there. And I didn't know what was happening, but the way he done it, I feared not going, even though I know I did nothing wrong. And he hit me onto the couch, and I lost my breath in that moment. And I asked him why he's doing this. I had to go and give a speech. And he told me it was because I was looking at someone for too long. It was a very hard thing to have your ears zinging and your head paining on the one side and knowing that you have a duty to do. You have an event to run. And I was so scared of giving the speech because I didn't want to make direct eye contact with any man specifically. I stood on the stage and what I wanted to say, I didn't. I didn't get to say it. I felt like he controlled my words to be as short and direct as possible. And it was for the first time in my life that I feared myself. And my ex had this thing of timing me wherever I go. And he timed me and he thought that, God forbid, in that 2 minutes, something had happened. I doubted my capability to do something. And the people that were there knew that there was an inauthenticness to my speech because they know who I am as an individual. And a few of them came to ask me if I was okay. And I told them I'm fine. And my one friend came and she saw the mark. She told me, you need to get out. And I told her, you'll kill me if I do. I need to just find a way. I need to be smart about it. And that's why I stayed. That's why I stayed, because I knew that if he could, he would kill me. I went to my family that evening and I told them that he's been abusing me. I told them that he's been hitting me. And he manipulated their minds so much to make them believe like it was me who was the problem. A few days after that was my mother's birthday, the same weekend that he had to go on a business trip. So we went to the mall that day to buy my mother a present. And we got her a gift, and as we were coming out of the mall, my father asked me to go and pick up something at a store there by one of our friends. He knew this person because they would pray together at the mosque. He knew who this person was. He knew that he was a part of the community. I tell him that I need to go and get something for my father, and he tells me he's going to meet me at the car. And I waited in the shop for 2 minutes longer than I should have. And my ex had this thing of timing me wherever I go. And he timed me, and he thought that, God forbid, in that 2 minutes, something had happened. And I got into the car, jovial, I was fine. And I opened the window, and with no warning, without saying anything, he bashed my head against the window. And he left for his business trip, and I left to the hospital. When he got back from his business trip, I faced him, and I told him that I'm walking out. I'm releasing this here today. Only to give women hope that if you are in the situation, you can make it out alive. I was physically, verbally, emotionally, and mentally assaulted. I was threatened. It was the turning point in my life. What is my advice to anyone going through this? The first thing is, righteousness always wins. The truth will prevail. Don't lose hope in yourself. Don't lose belief in yourself. Your liberation is waiting if you just reach for it. We live in a sick world where it's not the person, but it's the culture or the system that made the person the way they are. I'm involved in a lot of things. I'm an emotional, integral life coach. I do a lot of community outreach projects in my community, bringing consciousness to the Kaap, to Cape Town, not only to Cape Town, but my hope is to bring consciousness to the world. I am titled The Conscious Revolutionist, and this is what I want to do, just bring kindness and consciousness to everyone that I come into contact with. I have recently written a book about many things, many stigmas, many taboos that we face in society and the world that people are afraid of. My book is titled Mercy. So I believe that not only men and women, but children, our girls, I would love this book to be in schools, so that people can be educated so they don't fall into the trap of any systems.